The envelope felt too light. Tasha Reed counted the bills at the kitchen counter. 10 hours missing. Her fingers shook. Rent was due in 2 days. Her son's school trip fee sat on the fridge, in a clipped note. Her name badge lay beside the envelope. House manager. 6 months on the job. 6 months of overtime, careful logs, and quiet pride. Gavin Mercer walked in with a half smile and a designer mug. He ran the estate for his grandparents, Harold and Evelyn Cole. Old money. New brand. A family foundation that funded literacy, food banks, and senior care. The mansion employed 6 full-time staff. Tasha cleaned, managed inventories, and handled vendor calls. She tracked every hour. She kept receipts in a blue folder. Payroll adjusted. Gavin said, "Slow week." "My timesheet shows 52 hours." Tasha said, "You paid 42. He sipped. "Your lunch breaks ran long. You stepped out to pick up your kid's inhaler." "That was after hours." Tasha said, "I logged out before the pharmacy run." He shrugged. "This is not corporate. This is a household. Be flexible. Pay me for the hours I worked." He smiled wider. "Mind your tone." She held her ground. "Pay what is owed." He set the mug down with a soft click. "Do not start trouble here." Evelyn's footsteps sounded in the hall. The grandmother's voice was gentle, steady, southern. "Morning, Tasha." "Morning, Mrs. Cole." Tasha tucked the envelope away and tried to steady her breath. Evelyn studied her face. "You look pale. Coffee in the sunroom." Tasha nodded and carried the fresh laundry upstairs. She pressed a palm to banister and breathed slow. Her blue folder sat in the staff office downstairs. Every timesheet, every text, photos of broken fixtures she fixed, notes on extra hours. In the sunroom, Evelyn poured coffee and asked about Tasha's son. Tasha kept her smile small. She did not name the missing hours. She knew bosses talked to grandchildren. She had rent to cover. She filed a moment away and decided to start a paper trail. That night, she scanned the timesheets at her kitchen table. She printed her text exchanges with Gavin. She wrote dates on each page. She added a cover sheet with a simple line. "Pay owes 10 hours for the week ending Friday. Please correct. Watch till the end to see what happens to Tasha and to Gavin. Subscribe to Echoes of Black Struggles. These are life lessons. Stay with us." Tasha slid the packet into a large envelope and mailed it to the Cole family office with tracking. She sent a short, formal email to HR at the foundation address listed on her onboarding papers. She wrote in plain words. She noted hours, dates, and tasks. She asked for a correction by Friday. 2 days passed. Silence. On Wednesday, the house filled with vendors and floral staff for a charity salon. Tasha coordinated deliveries, checked plugs, and walked the grounds. Gavin hovered and offered orders with a smirk. He bumped her shoulder twice as he squeezed past. She logged both incidents in a note to herself. Evelyn found Tasha in the pantry and asked if the warm pastries had arrived. They had. Tasha kept her voice even and her work crisp. She moved like a metronome. Tray, napkins, pitchers, candles. She earned this job through skill, not pity. On Thursday, a reply landed. HR wrote 4 sentences with no greeting. Household payroll sits under estate operations. Please resolve with Mr. Mercer. Our records show 42 hours. Tasha stared at the screen. She felt heat rise in her face. She did not scream. She pulled the blue folder. She took photos of every page. She backed them up. She wrote a second email. This one went to a different address. The subject line read wage theft report. The address belonged to the State Department of Labor. Friday morning. Gavin cornered her in the butler's pantry. "You filed a complaint." "Yes." He took a step closer. "You will regret that." Her voice stayed level. "Pay what is owed." He kept the smile but lost the warmth. "Pack your things." "You are firing me for asking for my wages." "You are not a fit," he said. "Turn in the badge." Tasha set her badge on the shelf. She removed her apron. She walked out with a blue folder in her bag and her head high. She cried only when she reached her car. Then she called her mother. Then she called the Department of Labor to confirm her report. Then she called a legal aid office and left a message. By evening, her phone buzzed with an unknown number. She let it go to voicemail. The message held a soft voice. Tasha, this is Evelyn Cole. I hear you raise a concern. I want to understand. Please meet me tomorrow at the Southside Library, 10 a.m. I will come alone. Watch till the end to see what happens. Subscribe to Echoes of Black Struggles. These are life lessons. Stay with us. Tasha pressed play 3 times to hear the same words. She stared at the ceiling above her couch. If she showed up, doors might open. If she did not, silence would swallow her hours. She set an alarm. Then she placed a blue folder on her dining table, straightened the stack, and watched the red light on the answering machine blink. The Southside Library sat quiet in morning light. Kids read at a circle table under a paper banner. A librarian shelved returns in a bright cardigan. Tasha stood near a window and gripped the blue folder. 10 o'clock hit. A gentle perfume arrived before the woman. Evelyn Cole walked in with a canvas tote and no entourage. She wore a navy dress, a pearl pin, and flat shoes. Her gray hair was neat. Her eyes were clear. Thank you for meeting me here, Evelyn said. Thank you for calling. Sit with me? They chose a table in the corner. Evelyn folded her hands. Tell me what happened. Tasha opened the blue folder. She slid the timesheets over. She showed weekly totals with notes in the margin. She showed photos of her phone clock at late hours with a broom in hand. She showed the text exchange where she informed Gavin she was staying late for a burst pipe, and where he wrote back, "Do not log those hours. That is loyalty." She showed the HR email that bounced her back to him. Evelyn read every line. She traced the date with her finger. This was the week of the gala, yes. Yes, Tasha said. You handled the kitchen breakdown that night. Yes. You slept 2 hours and came back at dawn. Yes. Evelyn nodded once. What do you need most today? I need the wages owed, Tasha said. I also need this to stop the others. Others. The gardener, the night nurse, the part-time dishwasher. He lost travel time when he ran to the supply store after midnight. Payroll called that a favor, not work. Evelyn exhaled. How long? I joined 6 months ago. It started the first month. Evelyn placed both hands flat on the table. I am sorry, she said. You deserve better in my home. Tasha felt a pulse of relief and fear in the same beat. Relief because someone with weight heard her. Fear because truth often angers power before it heals a wrong. Evelyn pulled a legal pad from her tote. She wrote 3 short columns. Facts, names, dates. She asked questions like a surgeon. Calm, direct. She never raised her voice. She never blamed Tasha for raising the alarm. She took photos of the documents with a small tablet. She thanked Tasha for keeping records. I will speak with my husband, Evelyn said. I will ask an independent auditor to examine payroll across the state and the foundation. I will protect you from retaliation. He already fired me. Evelyn's eyes flashed. Then we start there. Mrs. Cole, Tasha said, I filed a report with the state. Good. I called legal aid. Good. My rent is due. Evelyn nodded. She pulled an envelope from her tote and slid it across the table. Bridge support, she said. A personal gift. Not hush money. Not a settlement. No strings. Her voice stayed steady. We will address the wages through formal channels. This keeps your family stable this week. Tasha stared. She wanted to refuse on pride. She also needed to feed her son, Malik. She took a breath. Thank you. Evelyn placed a hand over Tasha's for a brief second. We will fix the house and the system it sits in. They set a second meeting in 3 days. Evelyn asked Tasha to bring any notes from other staff willing to speak. Tasha said she would try to reach them. Not try, Evelyn said. Reach them. They deserve this moment. Tasha spent the weekend knocking on doors and sitting at kitchen tables. The gardener showed her text threads on his cracked phone. The night nurse shared how her hours never matched the care logs. The dishwasher's mother cried in Spanish, while Tasha wrote down exact times and vendor runs. Each person gave permission to share. Monday arrived with a storm overhead and a second call from legal aid. A staff attorney named Brian Lee set a meeting for Wednesday. He told Tasha which forms to bring and how to document retaliation. He spoke in plain words. He promised nothing he could not deliver. He asked permission to contact other workers. Tuesday brought the audit team to the mansion. 3 accountants in dark suits set up in the study. Harold Cole, tall and quiet, opened his office and closed his door. Gavin walked in late with a tight jaw and loose tie. He shot Tasha a look when she came to pick up her remaining belongings. She ignored him and kept her eyes on the box in her hands. Wednesday morning at legal aid, Brian showed Tasha a flow chart on a single page. Wage claim, retaliation claim, evidence packets, agency timelines, mediation, hearing, appeal. We build 2 cases, he said. We prepare for pressure. He asked if Tasha wanted public exposure or a private process. Your call. I want a process that protects everyone, Tasha said. Public if needed for change. He nodded. We move with care. That afternoon, Gavin sent Tasha a text with a link to a local blog. The headline read, House Manager Fired for Theft at Cole Estate. The story quoted an unnamed source. It included a photo of Tasha from a staff holiday card, cropped and harsh. The comments were vile. Tasha's hands shook. She forwarded the link to Brian and to Evelyn. She sat on her couch and stared at the wall. Malik climbed into her lap and held her face in his hands. You are honest, he said. You taught me that. We stand. Her phone buzzed again. Evelyn, we will answer this smear, she said. Do not engage online. Keep your records tight. We move with law. That night, Evelyn called a family meeting. Harold sat in a high-backed chair with his hands folded. The grandchildren stayed away. The estate lawyer dialed in on a screen. The auditor presented a first look at the numbers. The chart showed unpaid overtime across 6 staff, 3 months running. It showed time edits from a single login. Gavin tried to laugh. Clerical error. The auditor clicked to a second slide. Vendor kickbacks from a catering firm. A string of gift cards to a private email. A bonus tied to lower household payroll spend. Each point tied to his login. Harold leaned forward. Say the words, Gavin. Gavin stared at the rug. This is a misunderstanding. Evelyn's voice stayed low. Speak truth. He looked up. I optimize costs. At whose expense? Harold asked. Gavin said nothing. Evelyn stood. You are suspended. Effective now. Surrender your badge. Surrender your laptop. Leave the property. Do not contact staff. Gavin's face twisted. Grandmother, do not humiliate me. You humiliated our name, she said. You took from those who serve this home. He stood, chest heaving, and walked out. The door closed with a soft click. Evelyn sank into her chair and covered her eyes for a long second. Then she pulled her hands away and reached for the phone. The auditor handed Evelyn a sealed envelope left by a whistleblower. Inside sat a thumb drive and printout. The printout showed payroll direction on letterhead with one line underlined in red. Reduce overtime exposure. Move hours off the books. The signature block read, not Gavin's name. It read Harold Cole. Silence filled the study. Evelyn read the signature block twice. She slid the page to Harold. He stared at his name, and color drained from his face. I did not write this, he said. The auditor spoke with care. The metadata shows an internal template. The header matches your office. The saved author is unknown. The directive hits 4 weeks after Gavin took over state operations. Harold breathed slow. Someone forged my name. Evelyn reached for his hand. We find out who. The lawyer on the screen cleared his throat. We bring in a forensic team. We freeze internal emails. We notify the foundation board. We secure outside counsel for the wage case. For the record, Mr. Cole, do you deny authoring this? Harold met the camera. I deny it. Evelyn's phone buzzed. Brian Lee. She answered on speaker. We have a smear to address, he he said. We also have interest from the state. They will open a broader review if more workers join the claim. I recommend a press line from the family affirming cooperation and condemning retaliation. Draft it, Evelyn said. Also, Brian added, Tasha is strong, but the blog post hurt her. She lost hours at her part-time night job because a neighbor recognized her photo and started gossip. We need a plan. Watch till the end to see what happens next. Subscribe to Echoes of Black Struggles. These are life lessons. Stay with us. Evelyn's voice tightened. I cover her lost income while this moves. Send me numbers. The next day, Evelyn called a staff meeting without Gavin. She stood in the kitchen with the chef, the gardener, the night nurse, the dishwasher, and 2 housekeepers. She apologized for the harm. She pledged full payment of owed wages by Friday. She pledged an external hotline for reports. She pledged access to pro bono counsel. People cried. People nodded. People told stories of small humiliations that stacked into heavy weeks. Evelyn then called a press conference on the front lawn and read a short statement. We support our staff in the truth. We will cooperate with all agencies. We condemn retaliation. We have suspended the estate manager. We will audit every payroll. We will make people whole. Reporters shouted for details. Evelyn read the same lines again and went back inside. She stood at the kitchen sink and cried for 1 minute, then dried her eyes and answered vendor emails. Tasha watched the clip on her phone. She did not smile. She felt the tension in her shoulders drop a notch. She met Brian in his small office and signed agency forms. She handed over scans of timesheets. She handed over the blue folder. He took custody with care. Do you want to go public? He asked again. I want change that lasts, she said. If public pressure pushes rules, I accept it. He nodded. We control your story. Your words. Your face. On your terms. He introduced her to a labor organizer named Joy Ellis. Joy worked with domestic workers across the city. She wore a denim jacket with union pins and carried a tote full of flyers. She spoke with a clear voice and a quick mind. We build power in the open, Joy said. We also protect people in the shadows. Your records help both. Tasha started attending weekly meetings in a church basement. Nannies, caregivers, cleaners, and drivers shared stories. Joy taught people how to track hours, how to file claims, how to push back without losing their job. The room felt like oxygen. 2 weeks later, the forensic team traced a forged memo to a desktop in the state office. The user logged in with Gavin's credentials. The letterhead template came from Harold's assistant's folder. The printout matched paper only stocked in Harold's office. The intent was clear. Make the directive look like it came from the top. Aviate blame. Protect the bonus. Evelyn read the findings aloud to Harold and stared at the ceiling for a long second. He used your name. Harold clenched his jaw. I will not hide behind shame. We do this right. The foundation board called an emergency session. Evelyn placed Tasha's case on the agenda. Joy attended as a community voice. Brian provided a legal brief. The auditor summarized the wage theft. The forensic expert explained the forged memo. Gavin arrived with counsel and sat stone-faced. Evelyn opened the floor to workers first. The night nurse spoke of double shifts and missing hours. The gardener spoke of frost mornings with added tasks and no pay. The dishwasher's mother spoke in Spanish while a volunteer translated. Each voice landed clear. Then Tasha stood. I logged every hour, she said. I asked for what was owed. I lost my job for it. A blog smeared my name. I am not the only one. You run charities that teach kids to read. You fund senior care. You hold dinners about equity. Honor those words in this house. Pay people what they earn. Write rules that outlive me. Silence followed. The board chair asked Gavin if he had a response. Gavin's lawyer took the mic. My client admits errors in judgment, he said. He disputes the scale of the allegations. He denies any criminal intent. Joy stood. The intent sits in the outcomes, she said. Workers lost money they needed for rent and medicine. Your brand stayed clean while their lives bent under the weight. That is the intent that matters. Evelyn called for a vote on 3 measures. First, immediate restitution for all affected staff with triple damages allowed by state law. Second, permanent removal of Gavin from any role in his state or foundation. Third, creation of a domestic worker Bill of Rights policy for all households that receive foundation grants, with compliance checks and a public report. The vote split, half for, half against. Some feared donors. Some feared headlines. One board member warned that a major backer would pull funding if the family turned on its own. A hush fell across the room. Evelyn looked at Harold. He stared at the table and then at her. "We built this name to stand for something," he said. "We do not sell it for comfort." The board chair frowned. The bylaws require a 2/3 vote for policy changes of this scope. Evelyn reached into her tote and pulled out a sealed envelope she had carried for years. "Our founders wrote a tiebreaker clause for matters of ethics and staff welfare," she said. "A single trustee has authority to break a deadlock." The chair blinked. "Who holds that authority?" Evelyn broke the seal and slid the document across the table. Her name sat on the line. Before she spoke, the door opened. A state investigator entered with 2 agents and a stack of subpoenas. The agent read the case caption: "Wage theft, retaliation, fraud." She asked for Gavin by name. Cameras flashed in the hall. The room inhaled as one. The subpoenas forced the board back to the table after the agents left. No one checked their phones. No one looked at the door. They stared at Evelyn and waited. Evelyn stood. Her voice stayed soft and firm. "We owe our staff truth and repair. We owe our community rules that hold under pressure. I exercise the tiebreaker authority granted by the founders." All 3 measures pass. The chair recorded the vote. The secretary noted the clause. The lawyer read the motion again for the record. It was done. Evelyn turned to the workers and bowed her head. "You deserve better from us. We will pay what we owe with damages by Friday. We will publish a clear policy for every household we touch. We will fund a hotline managed by a third party. We will let outside auditors dig wherever they need to dig. We will not hide behind names or money." Tasha exhaled and felt her shoulders drop for the first time in weeks. Joy squeezed her hand. The night nurse wiped tears with the back of her hand. The dishwasher's mother nodded and spoke into her phone to tell her son. Harold stepped to the mic. "I failed to protect this house from a lie that wore my name. I accept oversight. I accept the pain of this moment. We repair by telling the full truth." Gavin stood with his lawyer and kept his face hard. He left without speaking. His counsel said they would respond in due course. Reporters waited at the gate. The story ran by evening. Friday arrived with checks delivered by courier to each worker's door. Triple damages. A letter of apology signed by Evelyn and Harold. A list of new rules. Timesheets locked. Overtime paid. Travel time counted. On-call hours recorded. Retaliation barred. A hotline number in bold print. A promise to reopen any past complaint. Evelyn asked Tasha to lead a new training series for grant partners. Paid hours. Clear scope. Group sessions at libraries and community centers. Tasha accepted. She wrote a short curriculum with Joy and Brian. Track your time. Save texts. Speak with calm. File when ignored. Know the law by number and name. Use your voice together, not alone. The state investigation moved fast. The forged memo and the vendor kickback string turned into charges. The district attorney filed counts that matched the facts. Gavin turned himself in with counsel and posted bond. He lost his condo when a lender withdrew. He started selling watches online through a broker. 2 months later, he sent a letter to Tasha through Brian. He asked to meet without cameras. He offered to plead and testify about a network of estate managers who swapped tips on wage shaving. "I held the knife," he wrote. "I copied the recipe from others." Tasha stared the letter. She did not want a performance. She wanted a net that caught more harm before it reached women like her. She met with Joy and Brian, and then with Evelyn. They mapped the trade-offs. Tasha agreed to meet in a church office with the pastor present. Gavin arrived without a lawyer. He looked thinner. He spoke in a flat voice. He described a private chat group where estate managers bragged about cost wins. He named a payroll software tweak that hides edits. He shared screenshots and vendor contracts. He did not cry. He did not ask for forgiveness. He answered questions. "Why me?" Tasha asked. "You were easy to frame," he said. "Single mom. New hire. No union." She held his gaze. "I am a person with a name. So are the elders who miss care hours in your numbers. So are the kids who lost field trips because their mother's checks came late." He nodded once. "I know that now." Brian sent the packet to state. The Attorney General opened a broader probe into household payroll practices across the region. A coalition formed. Domestic workers, labor lawyers, faith leaders, philanthropy partners. The Cole Foundation funded a pilot program for household payroll compliance and rights education. Grant partners signed agreements that tied funding to fair labor rules. The hotline rang less over time as rules took hold. Tasha became the director of a new program at the foundation called Fair Homes. She hired trainers from the community. She set up a simple website in 3 languages. She spoke in schools about respect for work. She sat on a city task force that wrote a domestic worker Bill of Rights ordinance with teeth. The council passed it. Fines funded a small restitution pool. Families adjusted. Good employers welcomed clarity. Bad actors found fewer dark corners. Evelyn and Harold stepped back from day-to-day work. They attended trainings and sat in the back row. They listened more than they spoke. They wrote a letter to their donors that said, "We do not chase polish. We chase truth." On a clear spring evening, the foundation held a small event at the Southside Library where the first meeting had happened. No red carpet, no step and repeat. Folding chairs. Children reading in the next room. Workers hugged each other near the coffee table. Joy took the mic. "We tell 3 stories when change lands," she said. "The harm, the fight, the repair. Tonight we name all 3. She handed the mic to Tasha. Tasha looked at the faces in the room. She saw the gardener in a clean shirt with his proud daughter at his side. She saw the night nurse in scrubs with a new badge from a clinic that now honors her hours. She saw the dishwasher's mother smiling through tears. "I came here with a light envelope and a heavy heart," Tasha said. "I leave here with a full check, a contract with rules, and a room that stands together. I ask for wages. We build a wall that guards wages for others too. That is the kind of wealth that matters." She turned to Evelyn and Harold. "You answer with truth and repair. Thank you for choosing the hard road." Evelyn stood and hugged her. No cameras, no stage light. 2 women in a library that now felt like a home. Months later, a judge accepted Gavin's plea. He paid restitution. He served community service at a legal clinic that helps workers file claims. He sat in a classroom and listened to Tasha teach. He did not look away. He handed out pens. He set up chairs. He filed papers when people finished their forms. He kept his head down. The blog that smeared Tasha posted correction. It did not go viral. That was fine. Malik framed the apology and hung it by the fridge under the school trip note, now stamp paid. Share this story with one person who needs strength. Tell us in the comments where you have seen wage theft and what steps you will take to protect your time and your pay. Subscribe to Echoes of Black Struggle for more stories of dignity, justice, and steady change. Your view, your share, and your voice help push real rules into real homes.